Good morning. I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News Now, coming to you from our digital desk. It is Thursday. That means it's time for another Cuyahoga'S Most Wanted. Every week we feature 3 fugitives who are on the run. They face serious charges. They're innocent until proven guilty, but with some of these, like aggravated murder cases, we need them off the street in front of a judge so they can face the charges that are in front of them. We're going to welcome in, as we always do, Detective Red Dyer with the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department. Detective, how are you today?
Excellent, Dan. Enjoying this warm weather we're having after that cold snap.
It is. It's been an interesting week of weather. Red, this is such an important program because this is an attempt and a chance for our community, our public, to help clean up the streets. We know these individuals are out there. If they've committed these serious crimes once, there's nothing to say they won't do it again. That's why we need them in a courtroom and not on our streets. Let's get to our first case this morning. Again, this is of the serious nature. Whenever we see a person charged with aggravated murder, they need to be in our system. So let's get to our first case of Kamar Wallace.
Absolutely, Dan. As you said, we're talking about very serious allegations here, very serious charges. In March of 2023, it's alleged Mr. Wallace was involved in a heated verbal dispute with the victim that turned deadly. It's alleged he shot the victim several times and fled the scene. And unfortunately, the victim did succumb to their injuries. He is approximately 5'10" and 180 pounds, and last known to be staying in the 2800 block of Loop Drive in Cleveland. But I also wanted to note he has connections with the state of New York, Georgia, and California.
Red, when we start talking about aggravated murder cases, and unfortunately we've had several of them here, I always think about the victims in this case, the people who have died at the hands of our gun violence. Think about their families. They've probably already gone through with a funeral, but they have questions. What happened and where is this person that's accused of killing their loved one? And they need their justice. They want to see that individual in a courtroom. So that's where our viewers come in. If you're watching this on social media, it's very easy for you to hit that share button. Maybe you don't know the person or the next 2 fugitives we're going to feature, but maybe somebody you share this with does. Maybe they've seen them around a neighborhood bar. Maybe they work in a garage and they work under the table. They're getting paid under the table. That can be just the one tip that the warrant unit with the Sheriff's Department needs to just go check it out, and perhaps we get an arrest. That's exactly how it's worked in the past. Red, this next fugitive is a refeature. This is somebody that the case is so serious we felt the need to put them back on Cuyahoga'S Most Wanted. The lengthy list of charges, Red, I counted them up. It's 53 total charges. 19 of them are for rape. This is a disgusting case. It is graphic, so I want to give people the heads up there that some of the details you're about to hear are a little tough to hear. Let's get to the case of Michael Johns Jr.
Well, Dan, there's a lot to unpack here. So let me start by saying this is one of the more extensive indictments, as you were stating, that I've seen, 36 pages. Most are typically a page or 2 for reference. This case alleges several rapes as well as gross sexual imposition and, unfortunately, unlawful use of a minor in nude material. And I know our community is very passionate about not only protecting their citizens, but our children, Dan, our children. It's very important. Some of these charges also have sexually violent predator specifications attached to them, meaning that it was found that he should be considered a sexually violent predator. Reports allege that Mr. Johns Jr. raped one of the victims who was underage, as well as recording these incidents on his cell phone. When the mother of the child came home and discovered him in the shower with the victim, he fled from the home and was caught in the woods a few hours later near the home with just his pants on at the time. His vehicle was also still on the street near the home. Mr. Johns Jr. was put on a GPS monitor, which he cut off. And as we've discussed, people who cut those GPS monitors off do not want to be found. That is not something that accidentally falls off like, whoops. A warrant was issued for his arrest in 2023. He failed to appear for an arraignment on a separate case involving the rape of another minor in 2023. The second victim in this case was under the age of 13 when this incident was alleged to have occurred. He's also considered a repeat violent offender with the Sheriff's Department due to a 2013 guilty plea to robbery. It should be noted that he has an extensive and violent criminal history with the Sheriff's Department dating back to 2008, Dan. He's approximately 5'5" and 34 pounds, and was last known to be staying in the 4300 block of Northfield Road in Warrensville Heights.
Red, that case makes your blood curl, your skin curl, thinking about a man allegedly in the shower with a minor when her mom gets home. The trauma that has to have set forth for that entire family is something they're dealing with. Again, this is an individual who is potentially still in the Cleveland area and needs to be brought in. Red, we're going to get to our third and final case here. A little bit of name recognition, maybe not for a good reason, but our third and final fugitive, Michael Jackson. What do we know?
Well, Dan, we know Mr. Jackson is wanted for 2 cases with the Sheriff's Department. In 2015, he actually pled guilty to burglary and domestic violence. Reports state that he forced his way into the victim's apartment in that case and pulled their hair out, as well as strangled them with one hand. So very violent crime. In his second case, he pled guilty to attempted having weapons while under disability and drug possession, where indictments state that he was in possession of a fentanyl-related compound, as we often see. We know that's a huge problem, as well as methamphetamine and cocaine. He violated the conditions of his GPS monitor as well, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. So our GPS monitoring unit is also working with us in conjunction to find any information we can to keep the community safe and keep the victim safe. Mr. Jackson is 6 foot tall and 190 pounds and was last known to be staying in the 24,000 block of Rockside Road in Bedford.
Red, when we do this every week, we try to remind people why this program works. And it is such an incredible program to have here in Cuyahoga County. We're talking about Crime Stoppers because the way this is done, the way the tips are generated, we don't want people to get nervous about making a phone call. This is a simple phone call. Why should people not be worried about their name being attached to this case, their phone number being attached to the case when they call Crime Stoppers on the tip line?
Well, Dan, as we say every week, but for our new viewers, the calls are completely anonymous. We don't record them. We don't ask for your name or any identifying information. Everything that we do is referenced through an anonymous tip number. So that's how all communications through us are done. So none of your information is ever exchanged with us.
And I think that is so important for people to know. That gives them peace of mind that, hey, this is a guy that's up to no good on our street. Let me make this call. Let's try and keep this from happening to anyone else, especially when we're starting to talk about aggravated murder, the rape of a child. Let's get these individuals off the street into the courtroom and potentially behind bars. Red, we talk about rewards every week, up to a $5,000 reward. What do you like to remind people?
That crime doesn't pay, but Crime Stoppers does.
Absolutely, up to a $5,000 reward. Detective Red Dyer with the Cuyahoga County Sheriff's Department. We appreciate it. Thanks for joining us this week.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, take care, Red. We're going to wrap this up again. So important. Here are the phone number. Here's the phone number again, 216-252-7463. To keep that in mind, it's 252-CRIME. 216-25-CRIME is the number to call, 216-252-7463. Again, simply sharing this video on social media can go a long way. We've been operating at an above 50% arrest rate for quite a while, so 50% of the fugitives we feature here end up back in the court system, and that is good news for all of us. If we have any other breaking news, it'll be here on our digital platforms. Our 11 o'clock news, just about 20 minutes away on CW43. It'll be a big afternoon at about 1 o'clock. We will get the sentencing of Erica Stefanko, the Summit County deadly delivery case. She was found guilty of aggravated murder and murder yesterday. She'll be sentenced at 1 o'clock. That's going to be very emotional. We will hear from Ashley Biggs's mother, at least at a minimum, when she is sentenced today in Summit County. Again, that'll be 1 o'clock, and we will have that here on all of our streaming properties. Until then, I'm Dan DeRosa with 19 News. Have a great afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media at Cleveland 19 News.